week has arrived. It is officially rivalry week. Wow, I messed that up big time. It's officially rivalry week, and the Ohio State Buckeyes are staring down the barrel of the team up north. I'm going to be good about it this year, Kevin. I'm not saying the M word. It's TTUN all week long. It's a team up north, Kevin. It is an exciting time for Buckeye fans everywhere, man. The week is finally here, and they just got to be chomping at the bit to get to Saturday to get this game kicked off.
Oh yeah, I mean I know how Coach Mick chooses to motivate. This is definitely one of those days where one of those weeks where he's really getting after them and just showing them everything everybody has said, showing them everything all over the country. And it's not just for the players; it's for the coaches too. Looking at, these coaches don't know what they're doing. These coaches aren't smart enough to, combat with the Wolverines. And I hate them. I hate them so much.
There we go. I want it to be real. Bring out the real feelings here. Obviously, you played in this rivalry 4 times. Dude, there's nothing. This isn't breaking news, but there's nothing like this, man. This had to be. This is the best rivalry in sports. I mean, you look at Carolina Duke, you look at some of the other rivalries around the country. This week, you got. I don't even know. Texas A&M. You got Ohio, obviously our game. You got some others in college football. There's nothing like this game, man. And I saw the videos today of the early 2010s. It actually probably would have been our time, or maybe just a touch before when we were in school, when they were getting into the fights in the Michigan tunnel and all that stuff. And it's like legit bad blood, man. It's bad blood by the fan bases. It's bad blood by the players. And for this group, this Ohio State group, man, they got a chance to right some wrongs from the past 4 seasons, and they just got to be absolutely licking their chops, man, to go get this thing going.
Yeah, I mean that was 2013.
Yeah, it was 13. Yep.
And that was right before the kickoff where they got in the fight. So, I mean, yeah, they just. Even when they were losing a bunch, they thought they were better than everybody else. That's how they choose to operate through life. They are worth nothing now. They're Michigan men of integrity and honor is all out the window after what they did just to win these football games. They chose to burn that. That's their own choice. And they have won it. And you know what? They've won the last 2 years because of it, because Ohio State has just been so eager to beat them. They've let reason fall by the wayside. So it's stupid. It's go out there and cave their faces in. Don't stop until they're all on the ground, bloodied and beaten, and then you can go home.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I actually like the fact that these games are played at noon. It is that start of rivalry week Saturday. I'm gonna get rivalry week down. I'm gonna say it 5 times fast, or maybe 100 times fast tonight. But I love that this game kicks off at noon because it sets the scene for the rest of the day. I mean, there's so many good ball games. Really, it starts on Thursday. You got the Egg Bowl. That's Friday. The Egg Bowl will be Friday afternoon. Mississippi State. You got Georgia Tech, which you and I talked about weeks and weeks ago about that game being a very important one for the playoffs. It's still there. If Georgia Tech can somehow pull it off, they would lodge themselves back into the playoff conversation. Indiana versus Purdue. I know the Purdue fans are excited to host the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers are going to boat race in that one, but Texas and Texas A&M closed that door on Friday night, and then on Saturday it's obviously our game. You got Miami and Pitt, which is going to be a bonkers game, one that's huge because if Pitt wins that, they get into the ACC championship game. That's a massive football game there. Oregon, Washington, not so much juice to it. LSU and Oklahoma had some juice if it would have been 5 weeks ago, not so much anymore. Vanderbilt and Tennessee has a massive one at 3:30. If Vandy wins that football game, they're going to be knocking on the back door of getting in the college football playoff, which is pretty exciting. Then you got the Iron Bowl at 7:30, Alabama and Auburn. And then that pretty much wraps it up in the top 25 for some of those big games, man. But it should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun, just big picture, as rivalry week always is. But Kev, I want to take a step back. Here to last week. Obviously, this is our first time chatting about the game last week. one of the big areas that stood out to me, Kevin, was the run game. You and I have talked ad nauseum about, hey, we want to see something out of the run game. They leaned into it in a big way on Saturday, and the guys came through. Bo Jackson and Isaiah West led the way. James Peoples had himself another nice game, and they got it done on the ground. When you're watching it, anything that stood out to you from that run game that you saw as an improvement that Ohio State's that we've been kind of yearning for this entire season?
Yeah, I think the running backs just kind of saw the field a little bit better. I think the offensive linemen were making it more obvious where the holes were. And I think some of this movement at the offensive line has kind of helped motivate some of these guys to be like, okay, I got to go out and prove myself. And it's lit a little bit of a fire under their asses, which is what's necessary. I mean, you ideally want them to do that themselves and have their own motivation. But, how do I phrase it? It seemed like everybody took it on their chin that we were going to run the ball last week.
Yeah.
Just to force them to honor it next week or this week.
Yeah, I thought you saw one of the big things that that really stood out to me was that they made that like Lincoln Kienholz package like more prevalent early in the game, and they were like throwing off of it because, hey, that's another thing that Michigan has to prepare for, Indiana and the playoff teams all have to prepare for now. That wildcat type formation and play package now, was more so a run package, and they threw it a little bit off of it. So you saw a little bit of that. But I think the biggest thing, Kevin, that came out of that game was Bo Jackson like really establishing himself as RB1, 19 carries for 110 and 2 scores. That's 5.8 yards a pop. That's consistent from the first quarter through, he played through the third quarter pretty much. But that's like that bell cow approach that they finally got from him. They've been waiting to unleash it, and they finally got it out of Bo. And I thought he handled it well outside of that fumble on that first drive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they now have. A lot of these teams had to start preparing for, whether it be that wildcat, whether it be that kickoff return. It's nice to see them forcing these teams to prepare for something. Like everyone's like, wait, why would you show that to surprise them? It's like it's better to force them to prepare so they're worse than other things than surprise them for one big play over the top.
Yeah, I think we could talk about that for a few minutes here because like that's something that average. I'm not going to say we're definitely not in the building for sure, but like when you bring up a really good point there of like, hey, why wouldn't you hold some of that stuff close to the vest and then release it on game day? That's certainly a thing you could do, but Kevin, when an opponent sees that, right, they see, hey, this is a new package that they've just run primarily out of, and then they throw a pass out of it, and now that just went from a package that that the opponent maybe does one period a week on, or hey, they bring it up a couple clips, or they bring up a couple plays an inside run. Now that becomes a full on, hey, we got to establish potential pass plays off of it. We have to establish different types of run schemes off of it, and that takes up a lot of time spent prepping. I guess my question is, or I guess the thought is, I do tend to agree with you that, hey, if you show something like that, then that costs the other team a lot of time and preparation. That's kind of where I lean on it. And, that's, I think, in my opinion, what Ohio State was trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you also do that against a lesser opponent. You do that against an opponent you can beat. I mean, you saw it when we played Rutgers in the past. We did, like, fake field goal – or not fake field goals, like fake punts, weird onside kicks. Like, that's how they choose to do it.
Is that what you meant when you said and the kickoff return when they threw that? They did that? Yeah. Yes, totally. Like when they did that, I was like, son of a gun, man. They just like threw that in there for it. Actually would have scored for sure. I don't know if they showed like a replay of it. There was nobody in the side.
No one there, which is what's interesting about. I don't know how much they practiced it because I thought it was a little bit adrenaline, but still.
Looked like me throwing the ball. That's what it really looked like. But all in all, the point remains, dude. The point remains that you throw something like that on tape, and it forces another team to prepare for it. Kevin, before we talk receivers, this past week was our week. Finally, it's been a long time. It's been over 40 games since a tight end has led the Ohio State Buckeyes in receiving. The last time it happened, I'm gonna go trivia on you. When was the last time an Ohio State tight end led the Buckeyes in receiving on a game?
You said 40 years?
40 games.
40 games.
Yep.
So that was 3 years ago. Cade Stover?
Cade Stover, week 1, Ohio State versus Indiana. Kyle McCord was the quarterback. A bonus point for you. Who was the leading rusher that game?
Was it Kyle McCord?
It was Chip Trainum. Chip Trainum.
Oh, my God. Yep.
Can you believe that? So two thoughts on this. First is, holy cow, college football changes fast nowadays. Like Chip Trainum, I mean, that was just 3 seasons ago. Chip Trainum, I coached against him at Hoban, and now I think he went to like 3 different schools after Ohio State. He went to Kentucky.
Currently on Toledo.
What was it?
He's currently on Toledo.
He's still playing. And like college football is just out of control. But in between Cade Stover leading the Buckeyes in receiving that day and Max Clare leading the way for Ohio State on Saturday, 39 games were played. And it's a collection of Marvin Harrison, Emeka Ibuka, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. There's one Travion Henderson in there somewhere along the lines in 2024. But obviously for good reason, Buckeyes receivers have led the way. Kev, was there anything that stood out to you from Max Clare's 7-catch, 105-yard, 1 touchdown day other than let's freaking go tight ends, dude?
No, I mean, it was awesome. It was what we've been waiting for all year to finally get him going. Hopefully this bolsters his confidence a little bit going into this stretch run at the end of the year. But the other thing it does is everyone kind of took him out of the equation. Like, now you got to prepare for him. Like, okay, if we don't say we triple cover everybody else or double cover everybody else, this guy can still burn us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of took from it. Is he showed that he's still a weapon, and
it was his opportunity. What was really cool in my opinion, was they obviously were down Jeremiah and Carnell, which we'll get to here in a little bit, but that opened the door. Like somebody had to take advantage of that opportunity, and I was so happy that it was Max. And not only you mentioned, hopefully it built some confidence for him. Hopefully it built some confidence for Julian Sayin and for the play call and for Brian Hartline to be like, hey, when the chips are down, like if we have to go somewhere other than Jeremiah or Carnell, like Max is the guy. And hey, Julian, you can trust that he'll be there and make the tough catches. And Hartline, you can make those tough play calls. But I thought that was awesome. That was one of like the big takeaways I had from that game on Saturday. But the other one was that this offense, just in general, they're different when they're down their 2 guys. They are different when they're down Jeremiah and Carnell. What was your opinion of what we saw from the Buckeyes offense without Jeremiah and Carnell on Saturday?
I think they were down 3 of their 4 or 4 of their 5 because Quincy Porter wasn't out there.
Yeah.
David Adolph was starting. I don't know what was going on with Mayan. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Well, go ahead. Continue, and I have a thought there too.
I don't know if it was because he dropped a few passes the week before or what, but like he didn't play a whole lot. Maybe they were trying to rest him if he had a nagging injury. I don't know what's going on with these wide receivers, but it's just it seems like, I mean, it's obvious we can still throw the ball. Yeah. It's obvious that, we can get the running backs out in the passing game, but, it is a totally different offense. Like, Julian is a Heisman-winning quarterback. Not to say he doesn't deserve it still, but, he looked so much cleaner when he had the ability to hit Max Clare in single coverage or the slot receiver in single coverage because they were doubling or shading or shadowing the other 2 the entire game.
Yeah, it was a total – I mean, I don't want to sound the alarm because I think that they're still – and they're good enough to beat any team, but it definitely was different. I mean, you go through a game where there's 14 completions and only 3 of them go to receivers, 2 of which went to Brandon Ennis for 10 yards, and the other one or 4 of which – four catches went to receivers. David Adolph had 2 and Ennis had 2. And one of Ennis's was a check down. So it was like a 2-yard catch. And I was like, David Adolph, I'm not kidding you. We haven't said his name on one of our shows. I've never written his name in an article, and he comes up and makes the first catch of the day, and you're like, whoa, this is interesting, man. Like, because I think against better competition, Kev, you can't be like, all right, we're just going to hit the tight end button for the entire day. You have to get some contributions from the guys on the outside.
You do, and I think that we saw David Adolph in our first film review.
Yeah,
and that was it. So it
point.
was crazy. But hey, that's how Brian Harline and Ryan Day wanted to run their offense. They wanted to give some guys rest and go from there. I'm like, hey, you know what? They still won the game. They did what they needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how they choose to do it. And that's what kind of happened. I think that ideally we could gain some more depth in receivers so that we don't need David Adolph to play as much. Not to say he's not good. Like, we've had good walk-ons before.
Mm-hmm.
However, like Sam Wiglusz, like CJ Saunders, like we've had good ones before, but ideally we'd rather have somebody with a little more top-end speed out there pulling on the edge.
Yeah, and it's so obvious. Like, yes, of course, an offense is going to look different when its two best players are down. But it was kind of concerning, like the drop off, and more so, Kevin, what you mentioned there. Like, Moeglin Graham is like a very hyped player coming up, and he's supposed to be the guy up next. And Bryson Rogers the same. Quincy Porter, like you mentioned, was out, but like those two, Graham and Rogers are like the two guys that are like, all right, they're going to take the torch when Carnell and Jeremiah go off to the NFL. And the fact that they weren't even getting opportunities was like something that caught my attention. Like, there's an obvious trust factor there that doesn't exist, whether it's between the play caller and those players, which is interesting because Hartline is the wide receivers coach, or, from the quarterback, not trusting where they're supposed to be, or them not getting there on time, or them just not being open, right? Which is just a totally different approach from, hey, if I throw it down the middle of the field and Jeremiah's there, he's coming down with the football. As opposed to more, now it's like, hey, I throw it down the middle of the field, he's covered, and maybe a catch, but it also might be a turnover or a batted ball or whatnot.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, that's accurate. That's exactly it. I mean, yeah, you like having that safety blanket out there if you're a quarterback like Julian Sayin, who's young and trying to make his way through college football. I mean, I feel like he's pretty seasoned at this point, but it definitely helps to have all your weapons in front of you when you go into these battles.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. And the hope is, there's been no official word yet, but the hope is that one of them will be back this week. Hopefully both, but hearing maybe a few whispers that one for sure is coming back. So once we get that news, it'll certainly be available over on our site, and it'll be available everywhere. I'm sure everybody in Ohio State world will be screaming it from the mountaintops once that stuff becomes official. But Kevin, the big storyline coming into this game, the past 3 years, really, or 4 years, is that Ryan Day and whoever's calling the offense has gotten uber conservative against Michigan, has tried to make this game a punching fest, a street fight, and trying to beat Michigan at their own game. I did it. The team up north at their own game. How does Ohio State need to approach this game Saturday to right these wrongs and exercise these demons that they've had from the past few seasons?
I mean, when you look back at it, I think it's like, of the last 21 meetings, 20 times the team that had more rushing yards won. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the mentality that went into it, whereas the mentality should be, of the last 21 times, the team that scored the most points won the game. That's what it should be. Don't look at, like, people want to talk about that stuff all the time. Here's the deal. There's one stat that matters. Which team has the extra number in their win column? And I think that, you've got to lean on your passing game as well as you run. Like, maybe they're going to drop back into coverage because they know our running game isn't super strong. And then, I mean, their defensive tackles are not as talented as they were last year.
Yeah.
Like, those two guys were their best two players. It's like saying, hey, we're going to man cover, no double. We're going to no deep man cover Jeremiah and Carnell. Like, that's basically what we did last year on offense. Was like, hey, we're going to do, we're going to do? We're going to run between the tackles against their two best players, one of which was a top 4 draft pick.
Yeah.
Like, or top 5. Like, that's craziness. I mean, their stats line up. They're the 17th defense in the country, giving up about 303 yards. They're 52nd in pass, giving about 207, and they're tied for 11th in rushing, giving just under 194. Now, that shows me that, yes, it's easier to throw the ball against them than run the ball, but last year was the same thing. And that's where I think you just need to look at the numbers and take a deep breath and be like, hey, let's take everything out of it and look at this like any other week from a game planning standpoint. Not from a motivation standpoint, but from a how do we prep for this team? And then, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Individual stats, Ernest Hausman from Nebraska, kid grew up in Nebraska, 68 tackles this year with a PBU and a sack. He's probably the heart and soul linebacker on their defense. Then their INTs, they have 10 different players with one or more INTs, 12 total. And then Cole Sullivan, a linebacker, has 3 INTs, 31 tackles, and 2 sacks. He's playing the most well-rounded football. But they got to talk about he made waves in the preseason. Is Derek Moore, 9.5 sacks, 3 PBUs, 28 tackles. If the fans remember, he was the one at Media Day making a comment about, they didn't beat us, so does their national championship really matter? Matters more than your cheating one, jackass. So, I mean, that guy's a loser. That's the only way to describe it. But, he's having a breakout year this year. He's got 9.5 sacks compared to previous years where he had like 1, 4, and 5, or 2, 4, and 5, whatever it was. So it's fun. It'll be it's going to be like when Winovich was talking so much during that revenge tour. I want this guy buried. I want him chipped. I want him under a lineman on every play. I want late whistles. I want through the whistle. I don't want this guy moving around much on Sunday because I want him so sore that he's not at practice. He's in the pit. He's sitting over there in the corner worrying about his Bahamas Bowl that he's going to. I don't want this guy anywhere near feeling good by the end of the day.
No, it's a good point because obviously the off the field stuff's one thing, but this year he is making an impact in between the white lines and in between the whistles, man. And like that's a guy where you circle like, hey, we stop him on the offensive side of the ball. Like that's a guy who we're going to game plan against. So your point is sound, both emotionally and X's and O's schematically there too. You talk about this Michigan team about kind of what their outlook is. Been kind of a weird season for them as the last couple have been. For the first time in a while, it feels like a lot of them are like, hey, if this group doesn't beat Ohio State, they're all kind of like out on Sharon Moore because like this team is like regressing, but then they beat Ohio State, and then they're like, well, okay, like that's okay. This season's been a lot of that. They get off to a decent start, but in week 2 they fall to Oklahoma. And like you're like looking at Oklahoma at the time, it was a top 20 matchup. It was 18 versus 15, a really good notch in Oklahoma's belt, and one for Michigan. We're like, hey, you went in with the rookie quarterback and kind of you kept it close for a while, but one you could grow off of, and then they ripped off a few straight, but like close wins, like a 3-point win over Nebraska, a 2-touchdown win over Wisconsin. They worked their way back into the top 25 before heading out to USC and getting kind of their doors blown off. They lose to the Trojans 31-13, and that's going to be kind of a style of game where I think that Ohio State's going to try to mimic. Jordan Mailata, the quarterback for USC, Jaden Mailata, threw for nearly 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. They were actually able to run it for 224. Okay, so they were super balanced and got after Michigan in the run game. That loss drops Michigan out of the top 25, and then they respond with wins over Washington, an 11-point win over Michigan State, a 5-point win over Purdue, a 2-point win over Northwestern, and then they rolled last week against Maryland. But like up and down, Kevin, like it's been weird. We've seen all of these same teams, and like I see that Purdue team, and I'm like, man, I loved going there. I thought the environment was cool. I said it a boatload of times on the show, but like that's not a good football team, and they lose to Michigan by 5. And it's like, where does Michigan kind of fall in this? Are they good? Are they bad? I don't know, and I don't know that it matters ultimately on Saturday.
I mean, the only game where it was close and he threw for more than 200 yards was Northwestern. Yeah. Like, think about Oklahoma. They lost. He threw for 142. Nebraska, they should have lost. He threw for 105.
Yeah.
USC, he lost. He threw for 207. All right. Michigan State, who they only won by 11, threw for 86. So that was heavily on the run game.
Fascinating, man.
And then Northwestern, he threw for 280, only won by 2. And all the other thing that's common is every home game, won by 2 scores, won by 10 scores. Wisconsin won by 2 scores. Washington won by 3 scores. Those are all home games. And then Purdue, they won by only 5. That's where they're definitely a better team at home than they are away. He throws a lot better at home than he does away. 251 against New Mexico, 235 against Central Michigan, 230 against Washington, and then 145 against Purdue. It's the game. You win the game by really taking away the passing game from him.
Yeah.
And just score. And that's what this defense does well, which is what I'm excited for. I know we're talking about our offense and their defense, but that's just something I noticed when looking at that.
It's called a good teaser, Kevin, because we're gonna hit that more in detail on our show on Wednesday. But your point is right though, dude. We don't really experience this because Julian's playing at such a high level. But for young quarterbacks, playing inside your home environment is math. That is a real thing. That is I'm comfortable here. This 110,000 fans are on my side. This is my home. My apartment's right across the street. All that stuff factors in for some of these young cats, and it's sometimes hard, especially early in your career, to go on the road and be successful. And you're seeing that a little bit with him. But like we said, we'll dive more into that later in the week, and it'll obviously be a great conversation because Ohio State's defense, man. There ain't nobody playing better. There ain't nobody playing better. There's nobody that could play better than those guys. So, all right, Kev, to wrap this one up tonight, looking at our game Saturday, what are you going to be watching? Keys to victory. This is the first. Kevin, it's actually, what's refreshing about this? We've gone through, and shout out to us. We've done 11 straight games where it's Ohio State's going to win. Or 10 straight. The Texas one was up in the air. We finally get a game where all right, there's actually keys to victory. What are yours coming on Saturday?
Win.
I
mean, just win your individual battles, win on offense, win on defense, win on special teams. Just go out and win. Beat your opponent. It's very simple. If you beat the man across from you and the guy next to you beats the man across from him, and all 11 are playing like that on offense, and you're just beating the hell out of the opponent, they're going to give up. They do. John O'Corn's going to throw an interception. That's how it's going to go. Paris Campbell's going to catch a punt pass and go for 70 yards. That's how this game goes. Just keep beating them. Curtis Samuel is going to take a jet sweep or a handoff out to the left, and Jamarco Jones and Michael Jordan are going to make a hole the size of a minivan, and he's going to walk through to the end zone and win in double overtime. You just got to win, and that's the simplest way I can put it. Win your battle, win your man, and win the game.
Yeah, it's beautifully said. I'm not even going to give keys to the game because that's perfect. That's perfectly well said by you because that's it, man. It's just where they're at right now with the past 4 seasons going the way that they have. Just win, baby. One more point than the other, than the team up north, and everyone's going to be celebrating that. I didn't prep you with this, Kevin. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to put you on the spot. You obviously played for Ohio State. You played in this game. What was your favorite memory of the game? It could be a game that was played, a play that you played in, so maybe something that happens during the week. When you think about this game from your personal perspective? What's your favorite memory of your time as a Buckeye?
I mean, the hatred I felt for him, the passion. I haven't hated something like that. I wouldn't say I haven't, but
somebody just popped
the pure anger that I felt and still to this day feel towards that whole institution is incredible. There's guys I've met that went there that are hey, nice. I knew a guy who went there from my high school that is younger. He's a good kid, but when it comes to this week, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I want them to lose every single game and then take all the amount of the point deficit, beat them by that much and then triple it. Like, I don't want them. I want them to just give up playing football. That's the only way I'll be happy with an outcome. Like, other than that, I will always want more. I will always want to go for 3. I go for 2 because I couldn't go for 3. You do not, and I don't know if I'm alone in this. I don't think I am from a former player standpoint. The pure, unadulterated, just anger, the like warmth that you feel in your heart towards this team. Your body temperature rises when you talk about them, when you think of them. You just don't. You never want them to succeed in anything they do. Like, Mason Graham is a great Brown, and I root for the Browns, and he's doing great this year. But I don't care. Like, I want anyone else on the team to just be one notch better than him in every category. It is infuriating to me that the greatest of all time to ever play this sport will most likely go down as an alumni of this school. And he wasn't even good when he played there. Mm-hmm. And that's what, and we're talking about Chad Henne. But, I mean, it just, I do not want them at all to feel success. I just don't. I really don't. It was so bad when TCU won because, or who the hell I don't know, TCU beat them.
Yeah.
Who did they play in their?
No, TCU beat. I forget who TCU beat, but Michigan beat TCU in that championship. And then, Washington.
Yeah, it was Washington.
And then
Washington beat Bama. I wanted Bama to win that thing so bad because they just I didn't want. I knew they'd bury Washington. I just did, and that's what they did do. Like, I hate to say it, that's just what happened, and it was so terrible to watch. And I can't express that enough. And this game, every year, I get up for it. I've been up for it since I was 18 years old. I'm going on year 11 of being a part of this game. 10, I mean, really only 10 because they wussied out and faked COVID so they wouldn't have to play us in 2020, and it saved their program because Harbaugh would have been gone. Stallions would have been probably killing people. That guy's mind just works so crazy. The manifesto and everything, like, I'm glad he put that towards football because that's a dangerous mind.
Dangerous.
But, I mean, that is just, that's how I feel. That's how I felt. I got friends that claim that they're fans of the school but never went there. They went to Dayton. Like, grow up. Like, I'm so out on them. It's crazy.
Don't say anything about me, all right? Don't say anything about me. But no, it's beautifully said. It's beautifully said. That's exactly what I wanted to get from you. It's exciting. The week is finally here. And the Buckeyes have a mission. They have a mission to go up to Ann Arbor and take care of business. They got to do it. They got to get the job done. I feel very good that they will. So as we get set for this week, as you get set for the week, please make us one of your stops when you're gathering all your Buckeyes content. There's a ton of good stuff to go around, and appreciate those who've jumped in tonight or with us for this show. We'll be back all week long with different pieces of content, different conversations just like this, maybe some more X's and O's talk along the way, but getting excited for a fun one on Saturday. So please make Buckeyes Roundtable one of your stops when you're as you're getting prepped for this game this week. So we're going to get out of here on that. Kevin and I will be back with you on Wednesday. We're going to flip the script, talk about Ohio State's amazing defense against the struggling Michigan offense, one that changed the record here, a matchup that's advantaged Buckeyes in a big way, and excited to dive into it. So for my partner, Kevin Woidke, I'm Anthony Moeglin. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll be back with you again soon here on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube channel.